Now, in this generation, it is starting to succeed, or it to some extent has succeeded, where all those military conquests failed in the past.
Welcome to the show. Now, please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now, welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever this may find you, O-Toppers. We are back with another episode, and today we have a special guest. But first, I'll introduce my co-host, cohort in all things O-Top. Russell, how you doing?
Doing good, Rob. How are you doing?
Oh, just doing. So,
Yeah.
and today we have one of the people who helps us with the podcast behind the scenes, now coming to the forefront. Big Trav.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, man, good to have you, buddy. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
thanks.
We've been wanting to get you on, so it's good to have you on the show.
Yep.
So show some love for Big Trav in the comments. All right. So love having you on here. So everybody, how's the week going, Russell? Week good?
Yeah. We had a really good week and actually got some much needed rain here the last couple of days as well. And so, yeah, I guess, and then everything else went well too. So I'll just leave it at that.
That's great. And so for everybody who is watching and wants to know, you can see my hand here, and then we're going to do a special little trick here. I'm going to reach over and point at Trav because he's in the house. Him and I are in the studio together. So he came over and we're recording, and Russell is where he is, which is not able to be in studio. It'll be fun when you get here. Like if you visit Russell, we'll all be able to record in here. But Trav is with me right now. So Trav, how is your week going?
It's been good.
Been all right?
It's been busy.
Been busy? Finishing up soccer?
Yep. Finished both up.
That's it?
Yep.
All good. Parties go good?
Parties went well.
Nice. Well, there you go. So, well, let's get into it tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about I don't know, call it controversial maybe. Who knows, right? Topic, and that is the topic of Islam and what it is and how things propagate, how they propagate, evangelize, whatever you want to call it, but how and how the plan for them is, how they spread that, and really where Europe and the United States and kind of the world are with that right now in the plan, kind of the downfall, and then we're going to give you kind of an update on Nigeria and some things going on there. You can still, we'll put it in the comments. You can still sign the petition, and there is some movement, luckily with Nigeria. So hopefully we're going to start seeing some good things happen in regards to the martyrdom and the, I guess you could call it a Holocaust genocide of the Christians in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that a little bit as well. But first and foremost, let's talk and let's get into this a little bit on what actually is Islam. So Trav, you're a guest here, so you're your first time on the show. Let's put you right on the spot. Why don't you give us kind of a your thoughts on that? What actually is Islam? I know this is something you study and you look at and you've been around the world.
Dates back to the 7th century, and it started out with a prophet named Muhammad,
Right.
That supposedly received divine messages from the angel Gabriel, and it went on throughout the years as an alternative to Christianity. If you read the Qur'an and you read the Bible, there's a lot of similarities. It's
Yeah.
just got a little bit of a twist in it. So I know Russell has a Quran. If you want to go from there.
So,
Yeah, this one's an actual translation from the Arabic by a gentleman named Usama Dakdok. That is accurate and more accurate than the one. If you like write into Washington D.C. and get one of those translations that's typically sent to Americans, that's fairly watered down. This is actually a translation that is true to the Arabic. And so just Google, if you're interested in getting a copy of this, it's called the Generous Quran, and it is by Usama Dakdok. That's Usama, middle initial K, and then last name is Dakdok. Just Google it, and you can order it from a number of places.
We'll put that in the comments, so
Yeah.
that'll be there for you. So if you want to learn more about that, you can just go to the comment section, or in the description, and it'll be there for you. We'll pin it in the comments, and we'll put it in the description.
Yeah, Arabic is this man's first language, by the way.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, especially if they're going to do a more accurate translation. You would want that
That's
to be
right.
his first
That's
language.
right.
So, but anyway, you can go ahead and continue, Russ, with what it actually is, because I think, to be honest, I think we could all agree to this. It's more than a religion. It's more than a movement. It's an ideology, really. I think is more kind of what it is, in the sense of it's not just, okay, this is a belief system. It's a way of, you believe this,
Right.
or there's really no place for you. And there are certain people that they believe shouldn't, even whether or not it's not even you're allowed to convert, that you just don't deserve to actually live.
Well, yeah, you were asking Travis to give us
Yep.
historical perspective, and then he kind of referenced me to the
The Qur'an, yeah.
Quran to me. But I don't know, Travis, were you finished? Because we're kind of getting ahead of the game here.
Yeah.
So to go back, you go throughout the spread of Islam throughout history until today's date. The current Muslim countries in the world is up to 50 now. That includes their governments, their any religious practices, whatever it may be. And the way it works is they come into society and they start out as a minority, and they start talking about minority rights. So they start building up a bigger following, more people convert, and eventually they start taking places inside of local communities, such as town councils, city councils, whatever it may be. You take that, and as they grow, they start to plant themselves, whether it be a mosque or some type of Islamic center. And eventually they go from being the minority to the majority. It doesn't have to be in a large area. It could be a small town, it could be a small city, whatever it may be. And once they have got over that 50% mark, they start implementing their rules, their laws. And that's what we've seen in Dearborn, Michigan. That's what we've seen in New York City. That's what we're seeing in Europe, Africa, of course, the Middle East, even Australia. They've had some massive turns towards Islam, and it's the same play throughout the world. They go in, they start out, they don't make a lot of noise, they don't cause a lot of problems until they start growing, and once they can get that majority, then they start implementing their belief systems.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a, I think it is fair to say it's more of it's an ideology. It's a religion, but it's an ideology. It's a thought. It's a life. It's a whole all-encompassing culture, religion, world system, if you will. Not just and if we look, and Russell, you have that Quran there, and I know you have some things with it to say, but it is not the I would say the peaceful religion that it is at times not to be. The people who and I will say that there are people who say, look, we don't believe in all of the extremist stuff, and fine, and that's fine. The thing that I will say, though, is the people who are reading from the Arabic, who are reading the Quran, will say, well, they're not really even, go, well, they're fundamentalists, they're extremists, they're the real.
They've been influenced by it. They may
Yeah.
not be applying it to their lives, but
Right.
they are definitely influenced by it.
Right.
If you go back and look at places like Gaza,
Yeah.
and from the moment that these children can walk and read and talk, they start teaching the Quran.
Right.
So that's what they grow up with. And now this is an extreme case because the majority of the population is Islamic. But it starts out even in small areas. It starts out with the children, and
Yeah.
they will bring. See, the problem is the reason why Americans can't grasp their plan is because they're playing a long game.
Yeah.
Americans are so instant; they want to see instant results. They may come in here for 4 and 5 and 6 generations before they do anything.
Yeah.
So they're well established. They have plenty of resources, and they're just waiting because they know Americans get bored real quick, and
Yeah.
we'll find something else to argue about.
Sure. Yeah, it's the next thing.
Well, and
it's
it's
the
not
next
just
headline.
Americans. I mean, this is, as Travis pointed out, this is a game plan that has been repeated over and over again in multiple nations, some of which don't have the forgetfulness that we do.
Sure.
And it was still successful because infiltration has a way of doing that if you're not paying attention to it or not taking it seriously. And we are probably some of the world's worst at not taking something like that seriously. Here's the problem. We get shackled by our constitutional freedoms here because we think and there have been people who have tried this before. We've had a number of incursions from different communistic venues over the last 60 plus years. And the tactic is always to try to use our freedoms to destroy our freedoms.
Yeah.
And the long game is the tactic used to do that. So I agree. Travis is exactly on target here. The thing that I think people need to, there's a number of things we need to discuss here. One of the things that people need to be aware of is that there were a number of attempts to overtake Europe in history militarily by Islam. They all failed. Now, in this generation, it is starting to succeed, or it to some extent has succeeded, where all those military conquests failed in the past. This infiltration tactic is succeeding. And it's because, as the old timers used to say, they're taking out our eye teeth while we're looking the other way.
Yep.
We're not taking it seriously. One of the other, Travis alluded to that problem. Another problem I see is that we have this very foolish idea that because we try to be fair-minded because of our Judeo-Christian ethic and because of the constitutional rights that are extracted from the Creator God that are understood to come from there, because we have the benefit of those here, we think the entire world sees those favorably and the way we do, and they don't.
Right.
And this ideology, as you said, Rob, definitely does not.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there have been a number of scholars that have pointed out that the reason our republic came into being and works the way it does is because of the philosophical and theological implications of the Judeo-Christian ethic extracted from the Bible.
Right.
And so an ideology like Islam could never produce a republic like ours. For one thing, it is completely inconsistent with what is called Sharia law, which we'll talk about,
Sure.
no doubt, before the end of this this
absolutely.
podcast.
Yeah. No, and you're right, and I don't think it can, because again, it doesn't even have the same hope, faith, grace, that Christianity offers.
Doesn't have the same God.
No, it does
I'll
not.
just come out and say it.
Yeah, no, I mean we might as well just I mean it doesn't have the same.
I mean, Travis, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, people sell it. I know when I was working in the university, and even back when I was doing my advanced degrees, I took my entire graduate and postgraduate degree situation. All of it has to do with religion and faith and biblical studies and theology. All of it does. And so I've been immersed in some of this stuff. And I remember repeatedly being told that the three great religions, y'all have heard it too, the three great monotheistic religions in the world are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And that they basically worship the same God. Well, actually, Judaism worships the one true God, and Christianity is an outworking of that also understands that God, the Son of God, the second person of the triune God, came in the form of flesh, was incarnate, and died for our sins. But it's the same God.
Yeah.
As in Judaism.
Yep.
When we get to Islam, they deny that Yeshua, Jesus, is anything other than a prophet. He's not the Son of God, and he's not even the greatest prophet. He's second to Muhammad.
Right.
And so certainly their God is not the same as the Christian God. That's for certain.
Right.
And then when you look at the Mosaic covenant, and then you compare things like the slaughter of people over ideological things. Also, if you just look at the kosher laws are not even the same.
Right.
Oh, they don't like ham,
Sure.
but they don't practice the same kosher law. So even something that we might consider menial like that, it's not the same. So the commands of God in the Tanakh are not the same as what is practiced in Islam. But the bigger issue is there is no command once the land has been possessed in Israel. There's no command to go throughout the entire world and do the same.
And not only that, Russell,
That is what Islam says that their God commands them to do.
well, and another thing that it's okay in Islam to do is you can lie. Okay, so the God of the Judeo-Christian belief
Bear false witness.
it says you shall not bear. In fact, you shall not bear false witness. And in fact, there is no way, in fact, to say, well, okay, but it's okay in this instance. It's okay. There's a white lie, or it's okay in this instance or that instance. There's never an instance. It just says, he says, I hate lying. I don't like deceit. I mean, all of these things. But in Islam, it's okay to lie as long as you're not lying to a fellow Muslim, or if the lie is in furtherance of the Islamic faith, you can go ahead and you can lie. And so all of a sudden, the God of
Yeah,
the
he's the God
Islamic
of
faith
lies.
is
But the
right,
Lord of the God of lies is not
right.
Adonai or Yahweh.
No, God is a God of truth, and He states
The
that
enemy is the God of
unequivocally.
lies, the father
Yes.
of lies.
Right. And so there's no level of, well, but it's okay for this instance or for that instance. And Trav, you and I have talked about that as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we could talk about the incident with Rahab the harlot and the spies
Sure.
in the land and so forth. We could talk about things like that, but that's not at all what's going on with Islamic philosophy that says that it is okay to lie to the infidel, to deceive the infidel,
Right.
to gain their trust so that you can conquer the infidel.
Right.
It's not the same thing.
Nope.
There's nothing that says you go into land that was not given by you or given to you by God and do whatever you have to do to put Allah, in this case,
You're right.
supreme.
Sure.
Also, the idea that God has you should just worship Allah because, and that there's no redemption, there's no salvation, nothing like that. Travis, you got some comments?
Yeah, they one thing that really stands out to me, the difference between Christianity and Islam, is God came and done for us. In Islam, it's what you can do for their God.
Yeah, well stated. That's exactly right.
Yeah, they
So he's like the pagan gods.
right. What great works can you do for me? And in Christianity, there's nothing we can do for God. Excuse me.
I mean, the way we serve God is by serving others, and that is
Bless you, Trav.
So it's a convolution. It is a convolution, and there's probably better examples we could cite even beyond these examples. But for certain, the comparison to Judaism is a little more nebulous. Although when you start looking at the messianic prophecies, you can certainly see that the God of the Tanakh is the one who generates the messianic prophecies through the writings, through the Torah and through the prophets. And he is also, you can look at the scriptures, there are allusions to his son.
Yeah.
And to two people called the Lord. There are these prophecies and these scriptures. One of them, I believe, is in Psalm 2, 1 and 2, for example. You look at Isaiah 53 and you can see, I know people say that that's talking about Israel, but if you go through and you carefully exegete that chapter, you just cannot truly come to that conclusion. Psalm 22, Isaiah 7, 14, Isaiah 9, 6, Micah 5, 2. Those are standard, and many others. passages in Zechariah and so forth, um, you can see without the New Covenant scriptures that the messianic vision is there, and the vision is not just there, but it speaks of this Messiah as a conquering Messiah who is, in some of the passages, the Son of God, and also is resurrected from the dead.
Yep.
In Daniel chapter 9, for example.
Yep.
So when you come to Islam, Yeshua is not a Messiah. Jesus is not a Messiah. He's not the Son of God. He's not God at all. And he's only the second place prophet behind Muhammad.
Right.
These are not the same people, and these are not the
Right.
same gods.
Yeah. So, and we've referenced this as we keep moving. We've referenced this a little bit, and Trav, you and I have had this conversation when we've talked at times on the phone, and I know Russell, you and I have had this conversation as well. But the propagation, in the sense of and how they propagate, and you, Travis, you made reference to this where they'll go in, and it's kind of and Russell, I think you said too, it's a generational thing. So they'll through generations they'll kind of just set themselves up in places of power. Start small and get bigger and bigger. So and we're seeing that in places like in Europe. In Travis, you told me a story about something that happened in Britain. We can reference, but also it's happening in the United States. Tell me a little bit about that. Talk about where we're spiraling, in a sense, in the United States, Europe. If we're not careful, we're gonna find ourselves, and we can kind of probably even go to this where there's certain places that are trying to be. Now, Russell lives in Texas, so Greg Abbott has already said there will be no place in Texas that can have Sharia law. But if we're not careful, we're going to find places that are going to have Sharia law. But when we talk about a little bit about, if we're not careful, what's going to happen, and then, Sharia law and stuff like that.
So I guess probably let's go with just what's in the news right now.
Yeah.
With Mandami up in New York City, you have a radicalized Islamist who is not a natural-born United States citizen.
Right.
Who is, from the latest polls, look like he's going to be a shoo-in as New York mayor.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with that. It's not just the fact that they're going to elect him. It's once he's elected.
Right.
Once he's elected, he's going to install a cabinet of his choosing.
Sure.
They're all going to be Islamists.
Yep.
You're going to have a Islamic terrorist state inside of New York City.
Sure.
And the biggest thing is with the immigration issues, and that's what happened in Dearborn, Michigan. They dropped the largest population of Somalis off in Dearborn, Michigan years ago, and that's how we now have what's her name up in office?
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar. Yeah.
And that's how she got the power.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is if she was in a third world country or Islamic nation, she would not even allowed to be able to speak. Rather on, it's all a facade.
Yeah.
When they come in, they're like, "Oh, we love everybody, and we want to be your friend." And then once they take over the majority, it's convert or die.
Right. Well, and I think what's interesting, and you can back me up, and we'll tell that story about Britain here in a second too. But when you get into Sharia law and you get into this, women have no rights.
They're viewed as less than animals.
Right, and they also what I find just absolutely, I mean, just so ignorant, I think is the best word, is the protection they get and the absolute almost flag waving they get from the LGBTQ, I don't know all the letters anymore, community. They have no tolerance, by the way.
Zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance. So if you get into Sharia law with those people, meaning if the Muslims are allowed to enact Sharia law, okay, that community will cease to have rights and be recognized at all, because and their whole idea, there is no trial, there is no anything. It is brutal.
Yeah.
The punishment, because it's death, but it's not just like, okay, you're gonna. I mean, it is a brutal kind of thing.
They're going to make an example of you.
They're going to make an example, and let's leave it at that. I don't want to get,
right.
But they're going to make an example of you, and it is. So it just amazes me that the people who are championing this it's kind of like the whole thing with communism and socialism. The people who are championing it are the ones who are going to be the most affected by it. They're like, this is awesome. So you want to have a job that pays $10 an hour for the rest of your life and you don't get anything and you want the shelves to be bare? Okay. But isn't that what you're complaining about now? It just shows a lack of true understanding, or it's the person who sees that every time you jump off this cliff, everyone has died like lemmings. No, no, but not me. I'm going to sprout wings and fly. Okay. It's not, and that's
Well, I think, Rob, it's just plain ignorance and denial. I think that's what it is. I that anybody who wants to know can know, but they like the support they're getting. So why look for the truth that this group might do you
right.
harm later?
Sure.
And not only that, that sprouts out of the ground of the greater American population
Yeah.
who also are just willfully ignorant. I have talked to several people who are not, I mean, like if you have people like, if there are people like you and Travis and
Yeah.
all in someone's life, of course, y'all are researching and we're able to talk and
Yeah.
we share information and we understand these things. But that's not typical. You go to just your standard run of the mill everyday person in the United States, they don't want to be bothered with the information that you have to share about this because it
It
makes them
doesn't affect
uncomfortable
them.
because they're going to have to do something about it. And who
Yeah.
wants to leave their whatever thing that they're doing in life for that
Yeah.
to pay attention? It reminds me of the story of Tsar Nicholas, who in the era of that Russo-Japanese war,
Yeah.
Japanese had a formidable navy, and in a naval interchange, they actually sunk at that time the entire Russian navy. And so the message came to Tsar Nicholas, who was playing tennis, and it said, I believe it was a telegram, it said, the Navy has been sunk. You know what he did?
Serve the
He
ball, I
turned to
think.
his opponent. He turned to his opponent and said, all right, now 2015.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to deal with it. And that's the kind of mentality. I mean, if you're the head of a nation and your whole Navy sunk and you can take that attitude, it doesn't, human nature being what it is, it's not a stretch for me to understand. Yeah, your average American probably isn't going to wake up easily.
No.
So we really have to sound the alarm
Yeah.
in,
I mean,
in
you have to
multiple
do
ways.
something. Yeah.
Well, I think the offended movement has made a big deal in this
Yeah.
because we live in a society now that if you offend somebody, you're going to
Yeah.
lose everything.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to post you all over the internet. They're going
Sure.
to you're making an example of you. Can't or cancel culture, I guess,
Yeah.
would be the better way they put it.
Yep.
So they don't want to speak up, even if they know that they're potentially in danger. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but 10 years from now.
Sure.
So instead of speaking up and say, "Hey, that we've got a problem," they're cowering back and saying, "I don't want to offend nobody," and that's their excuse for not doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're absolutely
Agreed.
right. And it's shame on us for allowing cancel culture to get as powerful as it is. That's, to me, that's on the uh, American people. That's because, again, and you know what part of it is to me is it's social media, which it's ironic because it's a podcast, so we're on social media, but um, it's ironic because we've allowed social media has created mobs, and this is exactly why, in a sense, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional representative republic because the founding fathers did not want a mob that could basically ebb, flow, change, and do things at the whim of whatever's going on. And I think that's, it seems like the left wants a mob, but thank goodness we don't have one. But again, shame on us for allowing ourselves to be manipulated in that way by the mob. Um, truthfully, so. But yeah, but because we keep teasing it. Travis, tell that story about in Britain, because Britain seems to me to be about 10 years ahead of
Yeah,
us if we're not careful.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, London already has a Islamic mayor.
Yeah, I think so. I
Um,
think they do.
but there was an article came out just I guess about a month ago now of a gentleman that was standing outside of an abortion clinic praying silently
Yeah.
And he was approached and asked what he's doing. And he told him, he said, I was praying. And because he admitted to praying outside of this abortion clinic, they arrested him.
Yeah.
Not because he done anything to anyone, not
Right.
because that he was actively yelling, screaming, whatever it
yeah.
may be, praying out loud in an offensive manner. He was literally standing
Yeah.
there. He and another way is, and we've seen this in TVs and movies, is he was arrested basically for a thought crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was. And there's another one you told me as well about a lady and her dog.
Yeah, they said that currently, if you have a dog in Europe and you're walking your dog around, they have made zones that you're not allowed to go in because dogs are offensive to Islam, and they see them as filthy animals. So these people are having to negotiate a way around these Muslim safe zones, I guess is the way you could talk it. And from what I understand, this lady, I guess she just had enough of it.
Walk through it.
Walk through it.
Jeez. Well, and again, this is what, if we're not careful, this is what we're going to have happen. And again, we lived in Michigan and we've been near Dearborn, and it is it's interesting. Even in the place where we live, I'm not going to name it. That's not the important thing. You could hear there was a pretty significant Muslim population, and you could hear the call to prayer.
Well, they currently have it 5 times a day now in Dearborn.
Yeah.
They also have a Sharia law police.
Yeah. I mean, now we didn't live in Dearborn; we lived in another place. But even
it's,
where
it's
we live,
spreading.
it is.
New York City has a Sharia law police.
Yeah.
I know we saw that video of the gentleman. I think he was out of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Where he told that gentleman who was he came up and said, I'm a believer or whatever. And he just flat out said, well, you're not welcome here.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. No. That was actually, I think, that was in Michigan, I think.
Okay.
Or it was in Michigan or Minneapolis.
It was one of them M's.
It was one of the M's. Yeah. So I mean, we're being told, hey, you know what? Because you're not, and you would never think that on American soil you would have heard that.
Well, they told us after 9/11.
Yeah.
They said we will take over your nation and never fire the first shot.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. They came in and they start building populations.
Yep.
And then when they get big enough, they start converting people, whether they want to be converted or not. But I'll add this little tidbit. I used to work in a prison system, and Islam is one of the fastest growing beliefs in the prison system. They target it specifically because of people's natures that are in that society where Islam has an aura about it of saying, I am better than you. And so that really appeals to people in a prison system because most of the time you're dealing with narcissistic people.
Yeah.
And so Islam really appeals to them. And because of its violence and there is an enemy, they pick it up really quick.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense. I mean, and what a place to target. I mean, think about, I mean, again, you think about Jesus, and he's there for all people, but he preaches a message of what? Of peace, of harmony, of love, of laying down your life for others instead of killing everybody who doesn't believe
Right.
like you do. So it's not, it's interesting. In that way.
And I just want people to know too, we're being extremely, extremely calm on
Yes.
how we're trying to describe this to get a point across without being flamboyant about it
Or hateful or whatever.
Right. If you want to go down that path, if you have a computer, which obviously you do,
Yeah.
you can find the more extreme things.
Well, and what I would even call, and we're on point, and sometimes we even go off topic, but you can find the what I would call the non-family friendly. And what I mean by family friendly, this is not where it's I don't want it's not in any way
Just
like
say the stuff that you really need to get that's the truth that will not be allowed for on social media.
on social
venues
media.
because
Yeah, and it's
there are
and
people that will
yeah,
censor you
yeah, and not
for
only that,
equally heinous reasons.
yeah, and there'll be it'll be
That'll get it said.
yeah, it's just not going to be allowed on social media, but you can find it and it's there, and it's sometimes it's it's very ugly or whatever, but it's there. But again, we're trying to be very because there are people, and I will say this, and we pray for them as well. But there are people who consider themselves very moderate. They're not
Right.
like, hey, we don't do that. So I don't want to lump them in with those.
No,
But
no.
let me tell you something, Rob. If those moderate Muslims you're talking about,
Yeah,
when Sharia law takes foot,
sure.
they don't fight against it.
No,
They
you're
join
not wrong.
with it.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's really, and why? Because it fits hand in glove
With what they're,
with their
yeah,
religio-political, philosophical,
sure.
um, underpinnings.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, not only
They
that,
are a
they just
part.
don't have
They
the
are a
opportunity to
product
speak
of
up.
the very
Yeah,
ideology
yeah.
that makes the more radical version.
Right. And like the Travis just said, they don't even have the opportunity at times to speak up because they're not even at times considered real Muslims because they're not reading or they're
Now,
not practicing the fundamentalist type
okay, so let me
view.
say a word about that word fundamentalist,
Sure. Or
because it's one
extremist.
of my pet peeves.
Sure.
The word fundamentalist is actually a Christian term,
Yeah.
and it comes from um, I forget I think it was called the College of Fundamentalism. It's not a university or a college. It was a group of people who came together under guys like R.A. Torrey, and they wanted to bring Christians together, sound Bible believing Orthodox Christians together who were from different denominations, and they wanted to come up with a statement that said basically, what is it that we actually agree on as Christians that are
Sure.
biblical, that are sound doctrine, etc., because these constitute the fundamentals of our faith.
Right.
And they came up with it. And they actually came up with this book here. I just happen to have it here, The Fundamentals
Yeah.
by Torrey, Feinberg, and Wiersbe. That Wiersbe actually did a later iteration of it because I think this was done in the early 1900s, the original one. So people that subscribe to that, and it's things like the Bible is inerrant, there
Right.
is one God in three persons,
Sure.
sin is endemic to humanity. Jesus came to commit the sacrifice and the blood atonement that saves us from our sins. All that kind of stuff. The doctrine of the Holy Spirit, the doctrine of the Son of God, etc. All right, that's what this is. This draws and reveals that Christians believe these things, and this is what the Christian faith is about,
Sure.
drawn from the Bible. Okay, these are the fundamentals, and it was said that the people that subscribed to this were fundamentalists. Why? Because they subscribed to the fundamentals of the faith. This was not a toxic word.
Sure.
And then there came this battle between the evangelicals, quote unquote, and the fundamentalists, and there wasn't that much difference between them, just a little bit. But that came only after the fundamentalists. That movement was a reaction against modernism,
Okay.
and so modernism made that necessary, but it also gave way to neo-orthodoxy. And neo-orthodoxy was something that both the fundamentalism and evangelicalism fought against. Now, evangelicalism and fundamentalism are pretty close. I mean, they're almost the same thing, but they began fighting. And to make a long story a little shorter, the word fundamentalist became like an ugly word in the greater evangelical community, because when Christians get fighting, they start calling each other by their names, but with a little bit of venom added. And unfortunately that happened. So then it's like fundamentalists, oh, you're just a fundamentalist, you're an ignorant, you're a Bible thumping ignoramus fundamentalist, you have no education. That kind of thing began to be said. So it became identified with people who are radical and ignorant in the Christian faith. Later, that got superimposed over Islam. And so if Christian fundamentalists are problematic, which they're really not, but if they are, then maybe fundamentalists, maybe that term can be superimposed over other religions, and the people who are radical and ignorant in those religions could also be called fundamentalists, and the rest is history. So when we talk about Islamic fundamentalists, this is a pirated word and concept that's not even accurate. These people are actually practitioners of the real historical Islam.
Sure. I'm
So
fine
it's
with that, yeah.
really a problem for me when people start separating them out. Now there are people like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Imam Tawhidi.
Mm.
Imam Tawhidi he is a Muslim who takes Islam to task, and they can't stand him. You ought to look him up,
Yeah.
Imam Tawhidi.
Okay.
He actually was interviewed by Candace Owens back before she went crazy,
Okay.
and
Russell's
it was,
going to get on Candace's
she
Owens'
was
radar if
winding
it
up
kills
on the
her.
right side of stuff. What's that?
I said, you're going to get on Candace's Owens' radar if it kills you. That's your goal.
You know, probably not, but the, the lady is just she's just wrong on this.
I don't
So is
disagree
Tucker
with you.
Carlson.
I
And so,
know.
and
You just make
as
I
many
just
of
love
us,
I just
many
love
of
the
us as can call them out need to do so.
I just
I
love the
don't
fact that
like it when people who are smart otherwise,
Yeah.
they try to borrow equity from their smartness to push stupidity somewhere else.
No, I get
I
it.
don't. So anyway,
No, I get
okay.
it. Yeah. But no.
I guess that's all I had to say
No,
about
you're
that.
good.
But
No, but no, and
it's
but that's no, and that's fine. But yeah, and I want to not switch gears or topics, but we want to make sure we've got an update a little bit. There's been an uptick, really. It seems in Nigeria with people with Christians being martyred, but it seems like now I read an article where Ted Cruz is saying, "Hey, look, we got to do something. We got to hold the Nigerian government accountable." And so there are people who are moving. So if you would like to be a part of that movement, you can sign the petition. We'll put that again in the comments and in the description, so you can click and you can sign. And we're going to try to continue to get that going. We don't have as many signatures as we like, but we're always going to keep trying to move and make that goal a reality. But there's movement now, so we seem to have um, people taking, and it's not because of the thing we did, but it just seems like because there's so much death right now, people are starting to go, okay, we can't just keep looking the other way.
Right.
So, and I know Russell that we may need to see if we can talk to Caroline or something just to see how she's doing and see what at least maybe just get some kind of update that we can say, hey, we talked to her and this was the update or something. You know what I'm saying?
I don't claim any credit for this.
Yeah.
But I wrote a letter several months back to Ted Cruz about this whole issue.
Attaboy. Look at you.
And also to John Cornyn, never heard squat from him.
Did you hear from Big Ted?
No, but this looks like hearing from Big Ted.
I know, yeah, exactly. We like to call him, because I'm from Texas, we like to call him Big Ted.
So
Travis is
write
laughing
your
at us.
congresspersons, and write your senators.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It actually can make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my one letter made a difference, but I'm sure other people
Sure.
are writing, and we've been encouraging people to write.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And I think
And
that's the key.
also, don't forget. I know you're still talking about this, but let's also let people know about the American Center for Law and Justice, the ACLJ.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, make sure that we do that because again, it seems like the violence is ramping up.
Yes.
But it also seems like because of that as well, and that we would never want that to happen, but that has now precipitated people saying, all right, look, we got to take a look at this. We got to hold somebody. This can't just keep going on. And so now it's like, hey, we'll hold the Nigerian government accountable.
Well,
Somebody's got to be held accountable for this.
Ted
So.
Cruz introduced a bill.
Yeah.
The ACLJ, I'm looking it up right now. They also, and maybe this had something to do with that as well,
Right.
maybe more to do with it.
Yeah.
They actually petitioned our government
Yeah.
about this. So people are waking up, and I
Yeah.
think we need to keep the pressure on, and we
Yep.
need more than that. We need to keep the message alive.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So.
What's this got to do with Islam?
Well, because again, and I think the reason we do it, first of all, we like to give updates, but second of all, when we were talking, Caroline said it's a lot of the Islamic jihadists
Yes.
who are killing the Christians.
Yes.
And that's why Christians, it seems like, are being targeted. So,
I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
It is an Islamicist destruction of. It's a continuation of what they did back. Travis was saying back in the 7th century. It's like a resurrection of that. It's the same thing.
Yep. So, anyway, so Trav, you got anything else? You good?
I'm good.
Well, look, I want to say, Trav, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on OTOP podcast this evening. Thanks for being on point. Maybe not on topic all the time. It's all right though. But let's pay a few bills here.
Actually, he was on topic really well tonight.
Actually, he stayed on. He kept us on top. I'm proud of him for that.
You did really well,
So,
Travis.
Thank
You're
you.
very
Keeping up
knowledgeable.
with that. So, but look, one of our sponsors here on Off Topic on Point is Mountain Mowers LLC. So if you're in the Tri-County area, and they're your local experts for keeping your yard looking its best. So whether it's mowing, trimming, or full lawn care, Mountain Mowers has you covered with reliable service and a personal touch. They know every yard is different, and they treat yours like their own. So if you're ready for a lawn that stands out without all the hassle, call Mountain Mowers LLC today at 276-730-8230. Mountain Mowers. They cut grass, not corners, and we love Mountain Mowers. So give them a call, see what you can do, and they'll do your lawn. They'll do it right. So anyway, I think anything else? Russell, you got anything?
Yeah, but I don't think we have time, so we'll just save
We'll
it for
save-
another
There's
time.
always more.
So we'll save that for
That's
next
right.
episode.
That's
So
what Travis said.
you know what? As always, we're going to encourage everybody. You know what? Like, subscribe, share, invite somebody to the OTOP family. Share this podcast with them. Comment. We love talking to you. If you want to email us, we'll be happy to respond to you there. You can do it at OTOP, OTOP now, NOW at gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And like I said, comment, share, subscribe. And we're on all the different podcast venues. So if you have a friend and they don't like YouTube, you can have them listen to us on Apple, Spotify, all the different places. So thanks for listening. And as always, we say you don't have to be on topic, but you do have to be on point.
On point.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening today to Off Topic on Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.